All right, sports fans, welcome in. Thursday edition of Overtime right here on your Sioux Falls sports leader, ESPN 99.1, worldwide at ESPN991.com. A bit different of a start to the program today. Typically, we get right into your headlines of the day, but fortunately for us, we have a very special guest in studio today. Country singer Kip Moore joining us as his tour comes into Sioux Falls tonight at the District later this evening. First of all, Kip, thanks for coming in. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm real good.
Now, here's the thing. We argued back in the summer, but I'm so happy that we did because now we have you in studio and I get to actually conduct an interview. That's going to be fun.
I'm trying to warm up to you right now. So,
I know you are, man. I know you're warming up to me because last time we were totally on a different level.
You got off on my bad side last time. I'm trying to.
Are you a forgiving person?
I am, man. But I just I think that the way that it all went down, I think social media has just become a thing where people can just kind of spout off and not be say it to the person's face, and I get really I get pretty angry about that kind of stuff, to be honest. So I didn't take it lightly.
But after the interview, did you feel better about the conversation?
I felt better after. I felt like you changed your stance a little bit after.
Absolutely, because I think I took some of your points to heart. Yeah,
I just I knew how much I had fought to make that right for people, and whenever I felt like someone that didn't know me just kind of lashed out and attacked my character, it put me in a bad place. And it's a good thing that we weren't face to face at that time.
I'm glad too, man, because I'm not that attractive anyways. I couldn't have used the right hook from you. It would not have been good. It wouldn't have been good, man. It wouldn't have been good at all.
You're right. It wouldn't have been. I agree.
Okay, so let me ask you about this as far as the fans are concerned in regards to that topic. Then I want to move on to a bunch of other stuff. But as far as that is concerned, because like you said, in your opinion, it needs to be about the fans. In a lot of other people's opinion, it's about the money.
Yeah.
So do you think since our conversation in July, it's been 6-7 months, that the industry is doing things to make it better for the fans?
I think that it's always trying. Honestly, it's like I told you, I think it's a no-win situation. I think that people will always figure out a way to cheat the system. And you look at it as not cheating the system, but I do. And it's unfortunate, but I'm going to always stand for something, and I'm going to always fight for that, to give those people that really want to see my show and that are at work all day and maybe can't get to their computers or their phones to actually get tickets. Those are the people that I want at my show. So that's where I stand with it. And people are trying. There's people that do the show your ID and you can't sell your tickets and all that. But then that's a problem, because there are some people that actually have something come up, they can't make it,
or they're buying it as a gift.
Exactly. So it's a hard thing, man. It's a really difficult thing, and I'm always for somebody, say they buy a ticket, and I get that you want to sell it for a little bit more when it's a hot ticket, but when it becomes buying mass amounts and just jacking them up, triple and quadruple, because it's going to be a hot ticket, that's where I have a problem, and I just don't think that kind of thing is right.
Kip Moore joining us here in studio, country singer on his tour right now, joining us here in Sioux Falls tonight at the District. For you, though, I think a lot of it, too, is sort of your background, too, versus some other individuals who maybe came up and had things a little bit more handed to them.
Yeah, for sure. I've had to scrap and claw to get to where I've gotten, and I never forget where I came from, and I don't ever buy into the hype around me or anything that's happening. These fans and radio and the fans built me, and I had a lot of early on diehard fans that came to these little dives, and they'd show up and they'd support us, and it's like that's what I'm about.
How long ago was that? How long ago was the dive?
Oh man, I've been doing this, JT, for years, man. We were in a 12-passenger van. Several years before Trucker ever even came out, and then even after. I was never one of those guys that took any money from my record label. Like, they'd want to offer you money to go get a bus, go do all that. And
in advance.
I always wanted to roll the dice myself. We were in a van all the way through my second number one, because I wanted to buy my bus outright and not have to owe nobody nothing. And so, it's one of those things where I just remember all those difficult years where we'd have to hustle and make friends at the venue and have a place to stay that night.
Sure.
And I just I never want to rip the rug out from underneath those people. So I understand that some people can't afford to get $100 ticket. It's just not feasible. So I want to always try to keep my production and things down to where That's why I have guys wearing multiple hats on my tour, where there's the sound guy that's doing the load ins, and he's doing where I can pay them a little more, but I can still keep the cost down. I don't have to pay a whole nother salary.
Kip Moore joining us here in studio on ESPN 99.1. Go back for my listeners, too, because your story, a lot of them might not know about it. When did you make the transition from where you were to Nashville and ultimately getting that chance that you got?
Man, it's a really long story. But to make a long story short, I played the bar band circuit for 3 years in South Georgia, and then I moved to Hawaii. I love to surf. I moved to the East Coast right before that, and I learned to surf. And then I moved to Hawaii just to kind of try to figure myself out, because where I'm from, you don't hear about people getting record deals and songwriting deals and those kind of things. And I was writing songs all along, but when I went out there is when I was living outside in the tent, and I had a little Yamaha guitar, and I was constantly
really, man?
Yeah, man, I was constantly writing music. And
you were living in a tent?
Yeah, it was like a little lanai little hut thing. It was like basically a concrete slab with a screen around it. It was like a 5 by 11 foot thing where I was soaking wet every single morning from the rain coming in. Sure. And but I was writing a whole lot, and that's when I realized that I knew how I was, and I wasn't going to be happy doing anything but music. So I moved to Nashville, and that's where it becomes difficult to break it down. It just became lots of grinding and playing tons of songwriter rounds, and after years and years, people start talking about your name and start coming to shows, and then somebody signs you to a songwriting deal, and then a record label start liking your voice on the demo tracks, and they start coming to see the shows, and it's just a culmination of so many things, and playing gigs out of town all along and still honing my chops in that thing. So,
how many concerts were you playing in Nashville? Because everybody thinks when you go to Nashville that you just start playing the entire Broadway.
No, I wasn't playing tons of. I was mainly focused on writing. I didn't really play on Broadway that much. I played 12th and Porter, which is like a rock club, a whole lot.
I actually lived in Nashville.
Yeah,
for 4 years.
I love 12th and Porter, and I played a Rutledge a lot. I played the Listening Room. I played the Bluebird. I played the Commodore. I played all these other kind of songwriting kind of places, and but there was a following that would come to like the Rutledge and 12th and Porter and the Listening Room. We do full band stuff, and But I was also, I was traveling in my Jeep. Me and my two other guitar players, we would go open for. I still had CAA, which was, I didn't have a record deal, but they believed in me as an artist, so they would put me on the road where I'd make $200 for a show, and we'd have to drive 10 hours to go play open for Trace Atkins or Billy Currington. Yeah, and so that was just enough to have the gas money to do it. So we had to find places to stay, so we'd sleep in our car a lot. It was a lot of those kind of things long before.
Look at that. That's live radio right there.
Yeah, I know.
I just came out of nowhere, man. We want to make sure we got a branding in there as we interviewed you on the show. But I think that it's interesting, too, with being in Nashville. And, I'm not a music guy per se, but living there for 4 years and seeing so many people, whether it was at Rippy's or whether it was at one of the other places down there on Broadway, and the effort that you guys have to go through just to at least get your name out there is half the battle. I mean, we know a lot of those people are talented. That's what my family would say when they'd come visit. It's like everywhere you'd go, there's great music. Yeah. But getting your name and your brand out there to the right people is so hard. It
was, and it wasn't like people always ask me what was the moment that changed everything. It was a culmination of me preparing. It's like an athlete preparing for so long, and then when the moment comes and you're in front of those scouts, you're ready. You know? So it's like that kind of thing where it just kept leading from one thing to another, and somebody else see me and telling somebody else, and you had to be on your game every single time. So a lot of preparation and grinding it out in bars and clubs and singing and working on your vocals and all those things kind of, led up to getting a record deal.
Now, you were an athlete as well in high school. I read your bio. I did a little research. Yeah. Basketball, golf?
I played basketball. I went to college initially on a basketball scholarship. I played that for a while, and then I didn't start playing golf actually till I was a senior in high school, and I quit baseball as a junior. Then I started playing golf, and I just kind of, one of those things that kind of came to me kind of quick, and then I ended up playing 3 years of college after basketball. So I went to school for like 6 years in college.
I went to 7. I finished my final year at Tennessee State. They finally gave me a degree in Nashville, man.
Yeah, they finally said, get the hell out of here.
I paid enough money, man. They finally gave me the degree that I wanted. All right, so here's what I want to do. We always play a game with some of our more famous guests. You're one of those. We call it Rapid Fire. So these are some easy questions, but they're a lot of fun, all right? So Kip Moore joining us here in studio on the Thursday edition of Overtime. Who are the top 3 artists that you like to listen to now?
Do they have to be current?
No, man, whatever.
Sam Cooke, old Motown guy. I love the Killers. And I dig what Bruno Mars does a whole lot.
Love it. That new funk song's great.
He's great.
That's great. Do you listen to Taylor Swift?
It's not something I'm going to pop a CD in, but I think she's incredible. I got to be honest. I think she's amazing.
What about Ed Sheeran? What do you think of him?
I think he's crazy talented. I'm not going to ride around listening to a lot of Ed Sheeran music, but I think he's crazy talented.
Yeah, that's another person that certainly we've listened to over the years.
Yeah,
here
he's ridiculous
as well. Wildest town you've done a concert in?
Oh man,
you've been out to like Tempe, out there at Arizona State.
Yeah,
that's got to be rough.
I would have to say Minneapolis and Boston they're a close rival.
Really?
Every time we have an insane fan base in those two places, and actually Calgary, Canada, recently was insane, which was last week. Yeah, I'd say those three places.
You might give me the same answer on this one. What's the coldest place you've had to do a show?
Here, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, last year was like.
When were you here last year?
It was like -17 with like a wind chill of -25, and I've never been in anything.
We wear sandals in that weather.
Yeah. here in Saskatoon are the two coldest places on the planet.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah. It's the wind, man. It is. What kind of guitar do you use?
Gibson usually.
Gibson?
Yeah.
What if it's not a Gibson?
Then they get mad with me.
I love it, man. Yeah. I love it. Favorite place to eat in Nashville?
Used to be a place called Zumi, and they just got bought out.
Zumi Sushi.
Yeah, Zumi Sushi.
They used to be a sponsor on my radio show locally in Nashville.
Man, I used to love that place.
They used to deliver to us for free. We'd do a trade with them. I just kill down sushi before I do radio.
I love that sushi, man, and it's changed the name, so I haven't been there yet.
Okay, have you been to Bricktops?
Oh yeah, Bricktops is great.
I love Bricktops.
Bricktops, I was
Prime
there
rib,
last week.
Stuff.
It's amazing.
I'm not a deviled egg guy, but when they bring that bacon
those things are amazing. I've had those too.
That bacon's delicious. Ever had a hole in one?
One.
Where?
Back in South Georgia, and it actually wasn't that. I didn't hit it that pure. I hit it. It was straight, but I didn't catch it as pure as I normally would, and so I kind of lucked out a little bit.
So you say South Georgia. My father-in-law worked in Fitzgerald, Georgia for a while. How far?
That's South Georgia.
How far?
Oh
away
yeah, man, that was a big rival, man.
Oh really?
There was a lot of fights growing up with the Fitzgerald parties and the Tifton parties.
Tifton, I know that
that's
down
where
there
I'm from.
too. Yeah, really.
That's where I'm from, man.
All right,
so
man.
It was like Tifton, Osceola, and Fitzgerald. It was a big you didn't want to be at a Fitzgerald party and start gaming on a Fitzgerald girl. It wasn't going to turn out good for you.
Man, I went down there to visit him one time with my current wife, and not that I've had multiple wives, but
I was about to say,
just my wife right now. God bless her soul, 7 months pregnant right now.
Yeah.
All right, so we went down to visit one time, and we show up in Fitzgerald, and we go to a barbecue, and they're frying fish. First time I've ever seen they kept the fish heads on the fish when you guys cooked the fish.
My dad never did that.
Okay, I was a little like this.
I think that you went to a strange party. I
was in Fitzgerald, man. That's probably why.
Yeah.
All right, favorite sport to watch on TV?
I'm a basketball guy.
NBA?
Yeah, I love, a lot of people hate on it, but I love watching NBA, good games like playoffs.
You know what, man? We got more common than you.
Yeah, I love it. I'd rather watch NBA than college.
Oh, man. Dude.
People always talk about college.
I'm so mad I got off on the wrong foot with you, dude. But I think we're not too far off.
Yeah,
I'm an NBA guy. What's your favorite team?
I'm a Hawks guy, man. I'm from Georgia, and I've been a Hawks guy because I was such a Dominique fan as a little kid. So I've been a Hawks fan for a long time, and it's finally we got something to cheer for.
Finally.
I'm more of a Hawks guy than I was ever like a Falcons guy or a Braves guy.
Did Reggie Theus play for the Hawks?
Yeah.
Do you remember? He's on our show later today.
Him and Doc Rivers were point guards. So yeah.
We had Spud Webb on the show a couple weeks ago.
John Battle, Spud Webb, yeah.
He was out. I was out in Santa Cruz at the NBA D-League Showcase, and he works for an NBA D-League team now. And he joined us live, and I was like, "This is like." He was
actually a really good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very undersized, defensively, obviously, but offensively, he was a good player.
And he said that he'll always be haunted by the fact that he won the dunk contest because that's everything that everybody remembers. He's like, they don't remember the assists. They don't remember what we did in the playoffs.
He was a solid player.
Yeah. Kip Moore joining us here in studio. A couple more and we'll get you out of here, man. I know you're busy. Craziest thing to happen on stage?
Oh, man. I can't tell the craziest thing on
Come
air.
on. Can you give us some Cliff Notes or something?
I was playing Hey Pretty Girl one night and in Reno, Nevada, and Pretty Girl is a very serious song for a lot of people, and you could hear a pin drop at the time. It was a really wild show, and but when we played that song, it was at the height of its popularity, and it was just like the whole room just got super still, and was a really special moment. And there was a girl up above me in the balcony that was making gestures to me throughout the entire show.
So you see this stuff during the show?
I could see her because she was dead in my line of sight.
Okay.
And she was an attractive girl, but she was a little bit vulgar. But she was making gestures throughout the entire show, and it got to the moment where and during the song, at the very end, just an onslaught of bras came on the stage. And
by the way, before you go further, what do you do with those?
Do
they just scoop them off, or do you keep them? Or
yeah, I'll pick a few up to see how big we're looking at, and I'll say, okay, yeah,
it's a good show tonight.
Yeah, we might could talk later. But I said, we got to the part where it was like, hey, pretty girl, you did so good. Our baby's got your eyes. The most powerful part of the song. And this girl, when it's dead silent, she says, she yells out super loud, and the whole place hears her. She goes, hey, Kip, show us your balls. And I literally, I completely lost all train of thought.
In the middle of the song.
In the middle of the song. And I don't want people doing that during the show because it's a serious song for a lot of people, but I couldn't help but start laughing. And the whole band, we couldn't figure out where we were in the song. And the whole place broke up laughing, and
it's got to be a fun moment though to look back.
It was a funny moment, man. It was. You don't want it happening every night, but it was a funny moment.
Kip, tell everybody where they can get your CD, man. Tell everybody about the tour because I just appreciate you coming in for sure.
You bet. I've had one record up all night, and people know they can get on iTunes, Amazon. They can get it at Walmart, whatever. But the new record will be out probably in late April. We're looking at late April, early May.
Okay, I got something for you, man. For coming in, I was told that Salem Town Board Co. in Nashville, people you work with. We got a little check here. It's not much. I'm on a radio budget here, but that's for them, and that's on behalf of us here at ESPN.
Dude, that is killer. I appreciate that. I'm getting behind them now. So,
okay, and I heard. Tell us what they're doing.
Man, they're employing inner city kids, really rough neighborhoods. They're building these cool, kind of old school hip skateboards. And they've got a shop now, and the goal is to get these kids doing something active, keep them out of trouble, and then employing some of them inside the shops to make the boards and work as salespeople and those kind of things. So it's a cool idea because a lot of those kids have never really had access and means to have skateboards and things like that. So that's what the whole thing's about. So we're going to be doing parks in other cities, and
that's pretty neat, man.
Yeah,
keep that work up. That's real.
I will.
Hey,
I will.
Kip, we appreciate the time today, man.
You bet, man. I appreciate it.
We had more fun this time, didn't we?
A little bit.
Kip Moore, everybody, tonight at the District. Great stuff from Kip Moore, country singer, here on ESPN 99.1. We'll take a break, come back, hit you with your headlines of the day. Stay with us on your Sioux Falls Sports Leader, ESPN 99.1.